Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, this morning we want to have a conversation that touches on very many people, and that is that of alcohol abuse. Every other month we're hearing quite a number of Kenyans dying due to consumption of illicit brews, which fall under the category of alcohol. And to help us have that conversation, we are joined by Mrs. Gladys Chania. She's a child and adult psychologist, director, and also director of Home Alcohol and Drug Abuse Center. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And Honorable John Kirago, he's a member of Parliament for Limuru. Thank you very much for joining us. And just a quick reminder, I want you to be part of this conversation. Text us on 22422, or you can get us on Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya or at Kirigo. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this conversation. Any questions, comments, suggestions that you have, please get in touch. And I think the first question is, how do we define alcohol abuse? And that's for you, Gladys.
Alcohol abuse is when someone ceases to be a functional alcoholic and you get dependent to the kind of substance that you're abusing. Yeah.
Who is a functional alcoholic?
A functional alcoholic is that person who can be able to take 1, 2, 3 beers, control himself, and get back to his feet, either by working or doing his normal duties.
So majority of Kenyans who drink are functional alcoholics. Can we say that?
Majority are, I think.
Majority are.
Yes.
There's the argument that I could take a glass of wine every day.
Yes.
And then it reaches a point where I cannot do without that one glass.
That's true.
Am I then considered an alcoholic?
Yes, you are getting to alcoholism, and you can get to alcohol abuse or an addict.
So let's clearly define then the signs and symptoms of an alcoholic.
That is 1, when you cannot do without it.
Yes.
2, when you can miss very important things in your life or in your duty because of alcohol. Either you took it and you cannot be able to control yourself. 3, you can start having some physical body changes. Either you shake or tremble when you don't have the glass or the kind of substance that you abuse. 4th, you can also have change of mind, start losing memories. 5th, you can forget about your daily natural way of grooming yourself, and you don't care what other people around you think about it. When you lose that touch of who you are, yeah, and many others. Yeah.
By the time I'm losing touch of who I am I now depending on illicit brews? Have I reached the point where I'm now on illicit brew? Mostly
with some of the symptoms, like failing to be who you are, you don't report to work. Of course, it will lead to something else. Either you get out of job, you are sacked or interdicted, or if you are working even in the farm, you need to go to work. And so you don't have resources that were making you to be able to buy a beer, which is well blended. And so you'll turn to go to the illicit ones that are affordable. Yes.
So this is in more like the later stages of becoming an alcoholic. Yes. All right, Honorable Kirago, I come to you, and thanks again for coming. We are seeing new reports every month, every other month, of Kenyans who are dying because of consumption of illicit brews. The latest one being this week. 7 people died in Thika due to the consumption of illicit brew. My first question to you is, have we lost the war on illicit brews?
I think we are at a point where this country, we have a major problem. Alcoholism is an issue that now touches on national security and also challenges the future of this nation. And just to go to what my colleague has said, I think the issue of whether drinks are illicit or not, we need to really define it further, because for the person who is buying, sometimes they don't know whether it's illicit or not, because they are blood-end, but they seem to be cheap. So the issue is the drinking habit. whether it is the so-called the right drinks or the illicit, but that we have a drinking problem. But let me go to what I consider to be a big problem. I think when you look at who is drinking, in fact you realize is these are kids who start drinking at the age of 15 going up. These are kids who leave standard 8, they are out of school, they are out there, they are not trainable, particularly the boy child. You know our culture, particularly in Central Province. Once you get to standard 8, you go or become a man,
yes.
And then after that, in fact, they build you a house outside.
Yes,
and from there, your parents will never know when you go out and when you come back. Now, at that age, you are not able to even know what is good for yourself. Yeah, and for us, I think we need to find a way of how we take care of these kids from the year 14 up to the year 18. Because these are the people you find all over the country who drink cheap because of one thing, they have no other means of actually survival. They have never known even any other type of drink anyway. But this is a group of people who have been exploited by people who are making money out of this illicit stuff.
I picked something from you and I want to ask, this question is directed to the both of you. We've talked about young boys who are going out and buying this cheap alcohol and getting into alcoholism. Now the question is, then have we as a community failed? Because this did not happen a long time ago.
That's true.
20 years ago, we did not see this high number of of young boys taking alcohol. So does that mean we as a community have also failed? We don't play a role in ensuring that our children do not head in that direction?
I think I can answer that very well in the line of my profession.
Yes.
And this one is totally as you are saying it. The family institution in this country is failing. And as it fails, it's failing our national values. For example, I do psychological counseling, and every day I attend to students who have been suspended from schools with the letters to come for counseling. And I'm having students, when they come and ask them, how did you start alcohol? Because I don't think schools sell alcohol.
Yes, of course.
And like last week, a student told me from the house, and the mother was there. I asked him from the house. The mother was like, which house? I asked her, slow down. The student, tell us how. From the cabinet, daddy's. Then I sip, I add water. I sip, I add water. So I asked the mother, can you tell me, is alcohol or beer or that whatever you put in the cabinet, I don't know the brand, spoons, cups, or plates? No. Then why should we have it in the cabinet at the reach of your children? So in this case, who started introducing the child to alcoholism? To an extent that a third party, a teacher, realizes your child is having a problem. You see?
Yes.
Bang. A student came for counseling. He started smoking bang at the age of when he was in class 5. Class 5. How? My dad's. And I'm giving you real life examples. My dad's. How? Najua pale huwa anawekelea. Kwa hivyo naenda nachukua na smoke.
So we can then say community has failed in ensuring that we end alcoholism in our children.
But you mentioned that this problem was not there some 20 years ago. I think this is a problem that has been there, but we have tried to ignore it. We only talk about it when 10, 20 people have died. But we never reflect as to how many other people are dying slowly. I think I come from a point where we have to deal with the problem. And what we need to do is to, first of all, deal with those people who are being exploited, because there are people who are making money out of this thing.
Yes.
Yeah? And we as a society have to take steps, first of all, to make sure that we engage the young people. We give them opportunity so that they mature, they make the right decision, they are engaged in some way that they are earning a living, that they have a value for their lives. Yeah? And then we bring in the issues of values. What does this country want to be? It doesn't want to be a country of drunkards. It is a country that needs to move to another level where we become people who are industrialized, who are manufacturing, who value life. For me, the challenge that we have now is for us seeing young people being desperate, being hopeless in the way they look at lives. But I am looking at it even from the government right now. Yes. The government has now started focusing on this area. We are lighting up. Like when you say you provide cheap electricity, that you are going to have Polytechnic and a technical institute to train people, that you are going to pick people for NYS. To me, these are things that we have failed in the past, because if we dealt with this issue and make sure that those people who make money out of selling illicit stuff to our kids, you know, they are like murderers, like the terrorists.
True.
There's no difference for me.
But Honorable Kirago, you know, we've talked about ensuring that the stiffer penalties and these people are brought to book. But this is a song we have sung for far too long. There is a body that was established to ensure this doesn't happen. Now, a year or two later...
Which body is this? The Nakada?
Nakada.
Okay.
Right? A year or two later, after... Remember, there was a time when this happened every other week, right? And then there was some calm. Yeah, and now we are seeing a resurgence. So what does that mean? That we are there to work for 2 days and then after that?
I think the point is, we think that by creating bodies and we ourselves standing there, that we are going to, these bodies are going to sort out this problem. As I said, this problem is this big that all of us cannot ignore it. You cannot say there is Nakanda. Let me tell you, some of the people who are actually pushing this related stuff are the people we have charged the responsibility of making sure it doesn't happen.
Very true.
Yeah? So whether they are chiefs, whether they are in whatever, in administration, headmasters, and you know, even religious leaders. Yeah? We must come together and say this is a problem that all of us, irrespective of where you come from, in the media or the government or the other people out there, that we must deal with this problem.
Question. We know who is doing this. Why aren't we bringing them forward?
That is the thing, Keguta. I think we have to cut short the demand so that we can cut the supply. And we know this very well. Like, for example, what the engineer has said about some of these people who have got responsibility to sing it stop are still involved. Like, for example, I am a campaign against alcohol and drug abuse. Okay? How would you take it if Madam Chania, you get her on a table with some beers, patronaging, sincerely? A person who is campaigning against it, then she's one who's having it. How will you tell as a person that I'll be able to control myself or I'm functional? The body you are talking about, I don't know much about it. Because that body, I don't know. Engineer is here, they are the ones who create those
create the bodies. But like you said, we don't really have to focus on that. No. So maybe you can tell us how then we go about it. You know, because this is something that is really, really hurting our society. Who then, how do we start?
We have hope.
We have hope. I like that.
I think the issue is we are addressing the Kenyan society.
Yes.
Because this country is ours and we have to figure out how we want the future of this country to be. I think what we are discussing is not very different from the issues we have had with the matatus and overspeeding. And you find that the people who are being carried are the ones saying that we want to move fast. Even when they know the speed limit, they are the ones pushing that you should overspeed. And then when an accident happens, then everybody start making noise and say, where were the police, where were all this? So even in this problem that we have, we as the people must take stand. And myself, I said, this is not a problem that has one solution. No. We, as I said, first of all, the people we know who are deep in this thing, we need to look at who are these and how can we help them to get out. But then we must make sure that we do not provide ways for other people to enter in the same way. So there is the issue of who is selling and why the other people are actually taking it. But for me, and I'm sorry, because of my background as an engineer, I would want us to engage the young people, the people who do not find anything else better to do than to drink.
That's true.
That to me is important. And I have said, the way to do this thing as a nation is also for us to deny ourselves some comfort. There are some things that we are doing in this country which we shouldn't. This is not a country that should be importing a desk like this, for example, or a chair like this. We must say, for the sake of our children, we are going to have this thing made here. We are going to create employment in this country. Because some of the jobs that, in fact, would be done by these people who are, who may not have, like, maybe the higher education or something. These are people we can train so that they engage themselves, and then they have a value for their life. I can tell you for sure, I have talked to some of the young people, or even middle-aged people who are in it, because they started when they were young, and they are in a point where it is very difficult even to face anybody now. The whole issue is that they don't find value.
That's true.
For this life. And we must find a way, how do we turn it such that in fact there is something better to do than to sit and get drunk and become unconscious and you don't know what is happening to your life.
We have talked about that age group. To my understanding is the people who are much older, about 18 and onwards. But then we've also realized that there's a 14 to the 18-year-old who is still going to school. How do we deal with that 14 to 18-year-old age bracket?
I think, as I said, I may not have all the solutions what need to be done, but I believe that we have to engage the schools. And let me tell you, we are talking of the 18 to 14. I have been to schools in my tour in Rimuru, and I have found a teacher with a bottle here. He is carrying a bottle here, and he's shaking. I went in the class and he's shaking. And then when I asked the rest of the teachers, what is the problem here? They say, oh no, he is actually a very good mathematics teacher. I said, you see, so even you find even the teachers, even them, they have also problems. But the problem is they will not want even to admit that teachers have a problem. So I think all of us have to open up. And we agree, yes, there are teachers who have a problem, we have kids, but the worst group that we have are the people who actually make a living out of the kids, for example. Yes. And I want to say this, the biggest danger we have right now is the so-called wines and spirits.
Yes.
The wines and spirits have a license where they can sell, and they sell, they are supposed to be selling in bulk. But they become retailers and they open anytime they want. Now, if you go in, let's say in places Rimuru, Kiambu, and other places, that you can get this stuff as early as 5 o'clock. And there are people who we say that they must open their facilities at 5. In fact, if you talk to the people who open at 5, they tell you all these drunks who have been drinking during the day, they now come in the evening to make noise in there, not to buy. Yes. So I think the issue is, do we as a country want to have a situation where some people are exploiting certain thin lines of this is a members club when it is not a members club. We are not even paying anything for this membership, but they are using it so that people can access it. So I think what we should do is that all of us must say, this is a problem. Whether you're a businessman or not, we agree that all of us have to help each other. Because you may think that, in fact, you're making money, but on the other side is your child also who is
getting affected.
Yeah, so finally.
Madam Chania, you deal with these 14 to 18-year-olds mostly, and even younger. What do you think then needs to be done to ensure that this is not a challenge? I like what engineer has been able to tell us. It's high time we now look for local solutions to help, you know, those who are older, who are more established in society. But then what we do with these ones who are still growing up, who are slowly getting integrated into this world of alcoholism?
As I said earlier, the family institution has to be well refined. All right? The government also have to take its responsibility. The church, the schools, and everyone. That one now brings the whole society on board. Because it's a high time the government, our government, has to agree that alcoholism and drug abuse, because I don't like living drug abuse. Alcoholism and drug abuse is deterrence to humanity, completely. It is poisoning our youth. We cannot go anywhere on social economy of this country with that. National security is doomed. And most of the people that we have from the age of 18 plus, they did not start using or abusing alcohol or drugs at that age.
No.
They started at an earlier age.
Yes.
You see? And our society, our national values are completely eroded. Like now you'll hear all of us trying to rebook things that are happening up here, not trying to look at their sources. Even things like gayism and lesbianism, where does that come from? At what ages? People think it is when I'm this age. No.
Comes from so
early age.
Tackle them when you know they're still young.
And a human being has to get associated to environment in one way or the other. Some of these people, if they want to go to, like what he has said about the poverty and lack of employment, if they want to go to the smoking alcohol and alcoholism, they also now get on this other side.
This other side.
Yeah.
Someone here sends an interesting SMS and says, introduce traditional brews to help end the illicit brew menace. The likes of Muratina and Busa. I like how we all said. I just want to hear what you have to say.
I think this one, for me, this way I say, as a society, let's get serious about this thing. You do not say that because there is fire due to electrical faults that we should go back to those mud huts that we used to live those years. But I believe that there is need to address various drinks for various people, but drinks that are healthy and safe for people to drink. But I want to go back to this 14, 18-year-old. I believe myself, and this is what I'm trying to do in Limuru, and I hope all of us in the country, and particularly Central Province, we can try. I think we must keep the young people longer in school. We must. At the age of 14.
Longer in school? 14 to 18? Those are 4 years. And I was in school for 8 years.
Yeah. But you know, when the kids are living at standard 8, at the age of 14, yeah? What do you expect them to do between that time and when they even get an ID? We are losing most of them during that time. And I told you, like the boy child. The boy child, and she is a mother. They first of all kick out the boy child out, yeah, and you are told that in fact you are a man now. So men out there are drinking, yeah. So you get in there, but I believe that in fact what we should do is to try and provide, you know, secular school. Even if that you know these kids may not have a lot of potential academically, but I think we can keep kids and for another 4 years in high school, so that they mature, they make right decisions in their life. But I can tell you, When they leave at 14, by the time they are taking the IDs, most of them don't have even teeth.
Okay, so more of tertiary institutions that
and no more secondary schools, like in Central.
Yes.
And but again, in Limuru, right now, I've started about 5 new secondary schools. But I wish I had more resources to do more.
To do more.
Because even I have seen kids who are said to have failed. They have maybe 200 points. Yeah? But given a chance, they get B's and C's,
yes, or
maybe D+, but then they can enter the military or police or something.
Yes.
But if, for example, the one lives at standard 8, that standard 8 certificate, I can tell you for sure, has condemned that person for whatever. So this problem is what I'm saying. We may not try to oversimplify this thing by saying give them now the Muratina. No. I believe myself is that we all, particularly the churches, as the government, everybody, we must come together. Come together. See, even the people who license, we must tell them, yeah, it is good to make money, but what does it mean in life? If you say making money is killing somebody else's child. Yes. I think those are the issues that we like to discuss. We need to discuss. And I personally, even now after this, I'm meeting pastors in Limuru because we have a campaign on 10th of July. Yeah. And the whole issue is to bring everybody together. Not to blame, this blame game or this. No, is to come together and say, we as a society, what do we need to do to deal with this problem? There are those people who are already fallen into this thing. How do we help to come up? What about the other people who are likely to get in? What do we do? And also, challenge also, and I have a lot of respect for the church because one of the serious fallout. But the thing is, what does it mean if, say, I have been selling illicit stuff and I come to you on Sunday and I bring you 1 million shillings? And you tell me, be blessed. We must start saying... We have to be held accountable. Because this is blood money.
Yeah, that's true.
This is blood money.
True.
So I think what I'm saying here is that as a society, let's look at it. Okay. And this problem, let me tell you, it does not affect a certain community. In the Rimuru, I can tell you, we have every community. Yes. And I have seen this problem with everybody. Yep. So these people should not say, oh, this is a problem of this and that. Maybe here there is more focus, but you go to Mombasa, you find people lying on the everywhere on the street. Yeah. So it is a national problem, but I think it's a problem that right now we have the time and the opportunity to deal with it.
Madam Chania, I think now also what we need to learn is how to deal with an alcoholic, because we could come across these people, in our day-to-day lives. How do we deal with them? What should we do? Because we've seen drastic actions being taken in, and it's known in Central Province, drastic action being taken by the women. But how should we handle the alcoholics?
It's a high time we also, I think it is getting to us all. It is high time the country and the government embrace that alcoholism and drug abuse addiction is an illness. It is a disease. It needs to be catered just like any other disease. And the way this country was able to go down on HIV and AIDS, they should start using the same measures on the same. In this country, we have only one government alcohol and drug abuse rehabilitation or treatment center. That is Madare. That comes out with its own stigmas. But we have several private rehabilitation centers, but the government also hasn't taken a keen on even accrediting them for NHIF. Very few. Like, for example, in Kiambu, we have more than 12 private rehab centers, and only one is accredited to use NHIF. And we are talking about a county that needs a lot of rehabilitation services or treatment. You see? So we need to treat alcoholics with a lot of dignity. Because to us as psychologists, when someone reaches that situation, he is no longer himself. It's just like the way you can get a child with disability. That child needs a lot of care. And we believe that even once rehabilitated, you are not a recovered addict. You are always a recovering addict. A trigger can come on the way, and you relapse back. Yes. You see? What does that one tell us? That if all of these thousands have become addicts, even if we rehabilitate them, they need to be walked through the journey of life.
Okay, so we've talked about, you know, the issue of going into rehabilitation, but for me it's more of, before we get into rehabilitation, what should Kirigo do if I come across an alcoholic? Does that mean I quickly, you know, drive them to a rehab center?
Sensitization is very important. Like today, the 26th of June, it is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. What advocacy have you had on the ground? Most of the people don't know about it, even most of the media houses. But I'm happy that you've called us here today.
Yes.
In Kiabu, we are celebrating it at Kabete, Wangige. I think it's getting spearheaded by Senator Wamatangi. And we'll go there. Like me, I'll go there after this. He's going also to do something on the same in his constituency. So you can see that we are ready to work with these people. So when you get an alcoholic on the way, like I would like you to do what I does. I don't pass. Myself, I don't pass. Most of my hurry stops there. And I give words even on the street. But you know what? I'm a psychologist. I'm passionate about alcoholism and drug abuse. That is my everyday work. But I think we should all try to see that we help one.
At least one. Just
one. Just like the way we started planting trees and now we are green. Let's help one person come out of it.
Okay.
But let me talk for the men.
Yes.
I think women also have to treat men
dignity.
Yeah. I think the way that we are trying to sort out this problem, that if there are women there who are fighting men and pulling them or talking, you know,
disrespecting them.
Or them, that is going to help. That
no, it's
help.
Not.
These people who are drinking, in fact, their husbands, some are children of the same women. And we are also trying to say that, in fact, there are no women who are drinking. In actual fact, there are very many. That problem also is not for men only.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that we should not deal with this matter like, you know, there is no law. We should look like we appreciate the problem and that people get into this problem for various reasons.
True.
In fact, it's more important, even at the family level, to understand why somebody is in
has gone in.
Yeah.
That's true.
Most of the men, in fact, who actually drink, say they drink because of other problems of women. So women cannot turn around and say, this is your problem, if they are the initial cause of it. But as a society, I think what we should say, this is a problem that cuts across ages, cuts across gender, and race and community. So it is a big problem that we must discuss as a nation.
Okay. But you see, Kirigo, Kiguta, as what he is saying about women and men and family, it is coming back to the family institution.
Yeah, it comes back to the family institution. And there's someone here who sent an SMS saying, educate the parents and children on why, when, and how. Someone else says, Kirigo, Wani, I think you're all lost. The issue is that when the communities and the government forgot about the boy child, and that's what you have said earlier, this is where the problem started. To address the issue at school, it is advisable to fully support implementation of the National School Health Policy where the drugs are captured. Nakada should have its presence on the ground. There are several illicit brew and bang dens in Bumala and Bujumba where criminals camp every day. We're coming to the end of this show, and I'd want, you know, your final words, your final say, and I'll start with you, Mrs. Shania.
What I would tell the society today, or the nation, is that alcoholism and drug abuse is a total disaster in this country. And we all have to take up our arms and teamwork and fight it. The civil society, the government, religion, and the family. The family.
All right, Honorable
For me, as I have said, this is a problem that as a nation we have to deal with it, and we must work to making sure that we guarantee the existence of this society in the future. And I believe this time both the government and the general public have an opportunity. The opportunities that the government is opening in terms of energy, communication, opportunities for doing business, I think we should turn them around so that we make sure that the young people have hope.
Have hope.
Yeah. And I believe myself, those people who make money out of this business of making sure that the other people do not have a life, I think they should review themselves. They should look at their lives afresh, because there are many other businesses where you can be done. But finishing, I want to call upon anybody who feels like the way you do to come and join us in Limuru on July 10th, where early in the morning, from 9 o'clock, we will have a procession. We are going to be together, the religious leaders, business people who actually even live on this business.
Yes.
And they have said they want to come together because they want to address this problem. But I want to say this, that I know the boy child is a major factor in this.
Concern, yes.
And we should invest in the boy child. And I want to tell you, like, I was surprised when I came in as a member of parliament in Muru. I found like a school in Digio Boys, which was a school that started early in 1960s. They have never received a shilling in CDF.
Wow.
But because the way we look at them, if you look at the facility with the sanitary or classrooms where the boys are in school, we tend to say they can survive.
They'll survive. And that's a conversation that, we can start. And we should have another day.
Yeah,
we should have that conversation.
For me, we as a society, we have the solution. And what we need to do is to have a commitment that we all can change this society for the better.
All right. Thank you so much for making time to come with us this morning. We really appreciate your input and your views. Want to thank all those people who've sent SMSs. Now, you don't want to go too far, because in a few minutes, like we said at the beginning of the show, today we're celebrating the Kamba culture, purely because there's Musi night tonight happening, as you can see. Yeah, there are a few things we want to learn about the Kamba culture, so you don't want to go too far. We are getting ready on the other side. We'll be showing you much more about the Kamba culture. If you're a Kamba out there, please send us an SMS. Teach us something new. 22422 is the SMS line. Twitter handles at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Power Breakfast, or at Kirikongarwa, or at Willis Roburu. We'd love to hear from you, so get in touch. For now, let's cross over to the other studio where we have Wote Band, all the way from Ukambani, entertaining us this morning. Enjoy.